Hi again. I'm back with another cool book. This week, it's a book called The Arabic Quilt, and it's written by Aya Halil, who was born in Egypt and moved to the United States with her family when she was just 1 year old. And this book, like a lot of them that we've been reading in the past few weeks, is based on something that actually happened to her when she was in the 2nd grade. Oh, which she said was like 20 years ago, and when her family was living in North Dakota. And there's a lot of Arabic words in this book, and I'll try and explain to you when I'm reading the book what they mean. But here's some of the words that you're going to hear. Habiti means my love. In other words, you know, the kind of thing your mom says to you, right? Tita means grandma. Shukran means thank you. Baba means daddy, of course. Sherbetad sounds like sherbet, right? Sherbetad actually means lentil soup. Kofta is a spiced meatball. And behebik and behebak mean I love you. Okay, you ready? Let's read. The Arabic Quilt, written by Aya Halil, with illustrations by Anna Samirjan. Now both Aya and Anahet moved to the United States from someplace else. Aya was born in Egypt and came to the United States when she was 1 year old. Anahet was born in Kazakhstan, grew up in Armenia, lived in a bunch of different places, and moved to the Seattle area in 2012, where she now lives with her husband, her kids, and a Labradoodle. Kenzie, Habiti, you're going to be late to the first day of school, Mama calls. And what does Habiti mean? Remember? My love? I'm coming, Mama. Kenzie stuffs her notebook into her backpack and quickly but carefully folds her quilt. The special one Tata made in Egypt. And what does Tata mean? Who is Tata? Remember? Grandma. Breakfast is delicious. Egyptian fava beans, homemade French toast, and watermelon with feta cheese and mint. Zachariah has watermelon juice dripping down his chin. He looks happy. I packed your favorite lunch for you, a kofta sandwich, Baba exclaims. And what's kofta sandwich? Remember? Spiced meatballs. And who's Baba? Yeah, Daddy. Shukran, Baba, Kenzie says, but secretly she wishes her Baba would pack her a peanut butter and jelly sandwich instead. Her family has just moved to this town and she doesn't know anyone. She doesn't want to be different. In the car, Mama sings along with the songs on the Arabic radio channel. When they pull up to the school, Kenzie turns down the radio volume. Mama gives her a confused look. Good luck today, Mama says. Behebik. I love you too, Kenzie responds. In class, Mrs. Hoggan asks all the students to share 3 facts about themselves. When it is Kenzie's turn, she says bravely, "I am Egyptian American. I love to swim. I love to write poetry." And then she sits, looking down at her desk. At lunchtime, Kenzie is surprised when Mama walks through the door. "Hobbity, you forgot your lunchbox." Hobbit? Like the Hobbit? Isn't your name Kenzie?" Molly snickers. Her classmates laugh with her as they walk to the cafeteria. Mrs. Hagen sees tears rolling down Kenzie's cheeks. "What's wrong?" she asks. "Molly made fun of what my mama said," Kenzie replies. "Oh, Kenzie, being bilingual is beautiful," says Mrs. Hagen. "Don't let anyone make you feel ashamed. You are special." That night, as Mama puts leftover sherbetad in Kenzie's lunchbox, Kenzie gently pats Mama's back. "Can you please pack me a turkey sandwich instead?" And what's sherbetad? Remember? Lentil soup. Before bed, Kenzie writes a poem as she hugs her quilt, which smells like Teta's home. The next day, Molly says, "Mrs. Hagen says I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry I laughed at your mom's language. It sounded funny." "Well, it may sound funny to you, but that is only because you don't speak Arabic," Kenzie says. She feels a lump forming in her throat. "My parents say that learning different languages makes a person smarter and kinder," she blurts out. "Okay, whatever," Molly says, skipping away. Mrs. Hagen calls Kenzie to her desk after lunch. "I found this notebook on the floor, and it was open to a lovely poem," she says. "I was describing my Teta's quilt," Kenzie says. "When I visited her in Egypt, she gave it to me. My Teta only speaks Arabic." Mrs. Hagen smiles. "That is special. I would love to see your quilt." "Can I bring it to school?" Kenzie asks. "Well, sure, bring it tomorrow," Mrs. Hagen says. The next day, Kenzie unfolds her quilt in front of the class. Her heart is pounding. "This is my quilt that my Teta in Egypt made," she says. "Oh, that's cool. I want to make a quilt like that," Deshawn says. "Maybe we can all make one for our classroom," Claire shouts. Mrs. Hagen nods and smiles. On Friday, Mrs. Hagen makes an announcement. "I have an exciting project for us all to work on. Kenzie's mom is here to help us make a quilt of all your names in Arabic." As Mama steps forward, Kenzie thinks, "How beautiful she looks." "Shukran for welcoming me here," Mama says. "Kenzie and I will write down your names in Arabic, and you will copy your name on your own quilt piece." Molly is not enthusiastic about the project. "Who cares about Arabic? We live in America. My mom says we should only speak English." In response, Mrs. Hagen starts writing words on the board. Algebra, coffee, lemon, sugar. "Does anyone know what these words have in common?" she asks. "They come from Arabic words," Kenzie whispers. Mrs. Hagen nods. Learning other languages besides the one we grow up with helps make the world a friendlier place. We can speak non-English languages and still be American. I wonder what my name looks like in Arabic, Brianna asks. Kenzie and Mama write down everyone's names. Neat! Shukram! Amina exclaims. Everyone copies their Arabic names onto sheets of colored paper. Then they decorate their papers with glitter and jewels and place them on the table for the glue to dry. On Monday morning, you will see a beautiful class quilt hanging in the hall, Mrs. Hagen tells them. Kenzie is nervous when the bell rings on Monday morning and the kids file into school. What if the quilt didn't turn out nicely? The quilt hangs on the bulletin board outside Mrs. Hagen's classroom. The colorful papers with their Arabic names have been cut into different shapes and sizes, and all the pieces are stapled together. Kenzie stands in awe, reading names in Arabic. Claire, Leah, Molly, Ivy, Jack, Lucas, Brianna, Sean, Deshawn, Sam, Angela, Lily, Amina. Teachers and older students stop to look at the names, trying to figure out whose name is whose. Wow, look at those beautiful letters. They're like drawings, they say. That was a really cool project, Kenzie. Shukran, Kenzie's classmates tell her. I'm sorry I made fun of you, said Molly. I didn't realize how important a different language is. Can you write my mom's name in Arabic? I want to give it to her as a gift. Okay, Kenzie says. Do you want to go swimming soon? Oh, I'd love to, Kenzie nods as Molly hugs her. Leaving class. A week later, Kenzie stops to look at the Arabic quilt one last time. Right across from it, she is surprised to see another collage of names in a language she doesn't recognize. Those are my classmates' names in Japanese, Kura says. Our teacher was inspired by your classroom's idea, and she asked me to help write everyone's name in Japanese. Aren't languages a beautiful thing? They can truly unite us. Kenzie smiles in agreement. In her room that night, Kenzie holds Tata's quilt tightly as she writes a poem for her parents. Shukran, Mama and Baba, for always encouraging me to be proud of speaking a different language and speaking it out loud. Languages can unite us together like a quilt, so I will always speak my languages without guilt. I will never be ashamed to speak in this language that is so unique. Bahebik Mama, Bahebak Baba. The end. Well, like I said at the beginning, this actually happened to Aya Halil when she was in second grade. Her second grade teacher back in North Dakota 20 years ago apparently had everybody make a quilt with everyone's names in Arabic. And I was thinking, and I looked up, do you realize how many different languages are spoken in the Bellevue School District? Can you guess? 20, 30, 40? 100. There's at least 100 different languages spoken by students in Bellevue who go to Bellevue schools. Wow, that's a lot, right? And 4 out of every 10 students speak that language, that was their first language, and they had to learn English as their second language. We live in a really diverse area, right? A little bit different than where Aya Halil went to second grade in North Dakota, right? And who is it, though, that understands all of those 100+ languages? Who is it that understands any language? Right. God understands us no matter what language we speak. And God loves us no matter what language we speak or what country we came from or anything, right? Isn't that special to know? So remember that this week. And boy, when you get back to school this fall, it's just a couple weeks, isn't it? Why don't you look around in your classroom and try and figure out how many different languages do kids in your class speak, right? All right, I'll see you next week. We'll have another story. And remember always how much God loves us, each and every one. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.